channel, man. Today we are picking up on my old FRP 420cc bike. So look, I know content is all over the place right now. We have got a lot of projects and this thing has kind of gotten neglected and forgot about. I do have one last thing that I need to do to this thing before we actually tear it down and get it all painted and looking nice. All right, so last but not least, man, this is gonna be a very important upgrade that we've been needing to do because honestly, the brakes that are on this bike have already fallen apart on me. I ordered this pair. We're only gonna be using one of them. You see that in there, that yellow thing in there? That's the brake pad on this. And this right here is the current brake pad that's on the bike over there. So this is gonna be definitely a big brake upgrade. This came off of a Rhino. If you don't know what that is, I'll put a picture of it on the screen right now. So yeah, it is a OEM replacement part. So whenever it comes to something like a Rhino, they have to basically pass some pretty serious safety guidelines and standards and stuff. So whenever you get a brake off of something like that, you know that this thing is going to be good quality versus something that's like what's on the mini bike. This thing was never designed to be going 70 miles an hour. Now granted, I haven't had it to 70, but I want to get it to 70. I just don't want to do that with the current brake setup. So yeah, if you see the little slide bolt on here has actually fallen out and now the brake can just kind of move around. Look, my brake, oh. Okay, it fell off. Literally didn't have to take any bolts out. So yeah, and look at my brake pad. That thing kicked sideways in there and it unevenly wore the brake pad all the way down. Yeah, this is just, it's not safe, man. Especially not on a bike that's capable of doing 60 right now. All right, so half of the brake already removed itself. I just need to get this bracket off of here and out of our way. We're going from that brake caliper to that. We are going from this brake pad to this brake pad. Brother, look at how hot this damn rotor has gotten, man. Look at this. Yeah, this thing is not straight at all anymore. It is warped like crazy. But also this rotor is really thin. I don't think that it's designed to take the type of heat that it takes to slow a bike down from 60. Yeah, before I can do anything, I need to figure out a rotor. I have some extra parts and extra bikes in the backyard. I might be able to pull a rotor off of. You see, it's funny, you guys always say I got too many projects. Hell, I got projects that y'all don't even know about. So I picked this thing up. Problem is I was never able to get this thing to start. I don't know if it needs an engine. I don't know really anything. Honestly, it could just need some carburetor work for all I know. I haven't dug into this thing yet, but it's just another one of those things that's on the agenda. And whenever I do, I'll need to order myself a new front brake rotor because I am gonna rob that. So this is a similar brake rotor to what's on my bike. This ain't the same one. This is just an extra that I had laying around. This one is also bent. It's not as bad. I could probably get away with using it, but I just don't like how thin this is also. This one is a lot thicker that actually came off of that little pit bike. You see the thickness comparison there. And of course, it's just a lot cooler looking. This is gonna be a lot stronger of a rotor for this bike, and I think it's gonna be really important for it to be thicker with how big these brake pads are. It's gonna transfer a lot more heat. But this is obviously two very different bolting patterns. So for the most part, what I need to do is just make a plate that has this bolting pattern in it and also has this bolting pattern in it. So we'll be able to bolt that plate onto the bike, well, onto the wheel, and then this brake rotor will bolt to that plate. So basically kind of like a little conversion plate. All right, there it is. So that is utilizing the mounting holes to actually mount onto the wheel. And then we will have the mounting holes for the rotor. Bang, bang, just like that. And then I've also got to cut that large hole out of the center, obviously, for the axle to come through for the wheel. And then aside from that, we got to cut this shape out, which would basically end up being a box. All right, there's our plate and all of our mounting holes. So it's a square. This is basically the same bolting pattern that's on the wheel. So bang, just like that, lined up. And once that is bolted onto the wheel, then we can bolt this onto the bracket. Or I mean, we could just bolt it onto the bracket first and then bolt the whole thing onto the wheel, but whatever. But as you can see, those holes now line up. So that's it. There it is, conversion bracket is complete. And it also spaced the rotor out ever so slightly. So basically the thickness of that material, it spaced it out. And I needed just a little bit to bring it away from the tire. So now we can go ahead and throw the tire back on. And now that we don't have a bent, warped rotor on there, I could actually find exactly where we need to get the caliper mounted. So for our next part of the process, we kind of need a brake line, and the stock brake line, it won't work because the banjo bolt that goes to that caliper is larger, of course. So we are on our way to none other than the Parker store. All right, got the bike loaded back up. I actually took it inside with me. There's our old hose, and this is our new one. So we were actually able to fit it to the bike in there, you know what I mean, and get the fittings clocked in the correct position. I went to multiple locations to get to one that actually has all the stuff in stock. All right, brake line is ran. I have it hooked up to the caliper. The caliper is just sitting there right now, and hooked up to the handle up here. I got it a little longer so that it'll kind of swoop around the front the same way that my throttle cable does, and we have plenty of length for it to go through the frame down to the caliper. Of course, we're gonna zip tie it up and make it all nice and clean later, but yeah, the old brake line wasn't nearly long enough. It literally came like straight down, and it was coming over this way and then through the frame. This damn brake line cost $90, man. $90 freaking dollars. That hurt a little bit, especially because you can order a brake line off of Amazon for like $20. But the thing is, I don't know, like as far as the banjo sizes, I have a banjo up there, banjo back here, and to clock them, to have the fittings clocked correctly, because of course they don't swivel. So it's just all in all a lot easier, faster just to have it done at the Parker store. But anyhow, now that I got that bled, I'm capable of squeezing the handle. So right now you just move the caliper, it's just slid over the rotor. So if I pull the brake handle, put a clamp on it, now our caliper won't move because it's clamped down to the rotor. And that is the best way to figure out where your caliper needs to be centered on the rotor. And honestly, I'm kind of looking at it, and if I scoot this thing down a little bit, it looks like I might be able to just blow some holes through the bracket that's on here and utilize the same mounting holes as my old brake caliper. I don't know, I'm gonna try, because that would definitely be easier than cutting a new bracket and welding and everything. So I'm gonna mess with it and see what I can figure out. Yeah, this old bracket's gonna have to go. Alrighty, got this thing all done last night. I decided to go ahead and pull all this apart so I can get some grease in there. Some caliper grease. I was trying with it all put together, but I just kind of made a mess. Yeah, since these are brand new, there's like no grease in there. Seems to work really great, dude. I haven't taken it down the street yet. That's my plan today, is to rip it down the street, take it easy. And test it, make sure everything's working. I also need to weld the backside of this bracket I put on. So I did bevel the absolute living hell out of that thing so that I can bury some weld in there and then grind it smooth. But now I can go ahead and get a weld back here on the backside. You see I have a bevel on this side as well, but the backside I'm not gonna grind smooth. I just want to get a nice fat weld on there to make sure this thing ain't gonna be capable of breaking off. And then we'll put it all back together with some Loctite. I found my blue, probably gonna use the red. there you have it, man. We got the new brakes on there. If I'm being honest with you, I feel like it's got too much brake now, but also that's the factory tire. So if we get a stickier tire on here, or at least something with a little bit more grip, a street tire, you know what I mean? Because right now, ow, god dang it, I accidentally touched the brake. Frick, that's hot. So right now, these big old V's, that's the only thing touching the ground. So whenever I try to slow down, if I apply too much brake pressure, it obviously just locks this thing up, and it's going to cause it to go through this tire so quick. So that's a common misconception whenever it comes to tires and like the grip that they have. It's not only good for like cornering and taking off, but it improves braking as well, because you're capable of applying more brake pressure because the tire is sticking to the ground better. So it's less likely to just lock up and slide. Yeah, that is definitely going to be an upgrade that we need to do on this thing soon. Is a good set of street tires. But anyhow, that is the last thing that I had to do this time. Oh, I'm 100% sure that's the last thing that I had to do before we tear this down and get it all painted and looking nice. So anyhow, guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. Definitely a fun little project, a very rewarding project. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do smash the like button if you did. Peace, and we will see you on the next one.